What's up, guys? It's Wally the Robot here, and today we are playing Set in the top lane. Now, I'm duoed with Nishtroyer. He's playing Ashe, and I want to make a quick note. Just because a player is a certain level, what I'm getting at is if a player is over a level 100, it does not mean that they are good at the game, and if a player is lower level than you, does not mean that they are bad at the game. You have to knowledge check them in game. You have to see how they play and then base your decisions off that. A good example is the Urgot is level 43. I'm level 36, but he kind of makes mistakes. I think he's trying to understand how Urgot works. But I take advantage of that early game and I end up picking up first blood. Now, a way not to do a knowledge check is to just automatically assume that they're bad, and then just try to all in them. Because just because they're bad with the champion does not mean that they are bad at the game with their game knowledge. What makes a player bad is being arrogant, overconfident, and then end up throwing the lead and or just inting unintentionally because you're misplaying. And what I mean by that is, if I were to continue to go in on the Urgot, on that knowledge check, I would have died 100%. So I decided to back off. I'm waiting for the fruit. I always forget the name of the fruit. But as I'm waiting, I notice that Urgot's not pushing. He's more than likely staying in lane. He doesn't want to back. He can't buy any items at this time. So I'm going to take my fruit and then I'm going to go back to lane. I see him on top and I go to fight. I know I can get the free kill on this one, especially since I went W. For my second ability, and then I'm able to push, reset, and then come back to lane. Now, I should have ran Merc Treads this game. Reason being is because they have a Caitlyn, they have a Lux, they have a Jarvan, and they have a Urgot. All three of those have some form of CC. Lux has a snare, Caitlyn has a trap, which is another way stun. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a snare in my honest opinion, but you literally can't do anything while you're trapped. Unlike Lux's snare, where you can still cast abilities and or auto attack if she's in range. Urgot has a throw, which is essentially like a small stun, and then Jarvan has a small stun. When he throws his flag, he shields himself, and then he goes to his flag. Now, here, I'm doing a knowledge check on the Jarvan. I want to see how he plays. I see him running back to his jungle side. I go back in. He follows back. And you see us playing back and forth. Now, I make a mistake and I ping danger, not realizing how close the Kayn was. Because at this point in time, I was more focused on keeping the Jarvan occupied than looking at the minimap. And I was also trying to be mindful of where the Urgot's located. The reason why I say it's mistimed on my ping is because Kayn was coming in for a counter gank, and because I pinged it, Kayn ran away. Now, the reason why I did that was because if Jarvan's going to be hanging around top, right? I mean, all it takes is a half second to look at the minimap and realize that, hey, Kayn's coming in for a counter gank. I can make a play on this. That's all it would take. But I didn't do that. I was too tunneled in on the playing ping pong with Jarvan and the Urgot, because every time I'd walk up, Jarvan would walk away, or not Jarvan, Urgot would walk away and Jarvan would walk in, and then when Jarvan walked in, I'd walk away, Urgot would walk in. So it was like a little bit of a tug of war. I'll also say that the reason why I ping danger is to get the attention of my allies, letting them know, like, hey, go ahead and push your lane. If you can take the advantage. That's the whole idea. But it ended up failing in a very bad way. So you'll see here in a little bit, I end up dying to the Urgot because I get a little overconfident. And then after that, you'll see what I'm getting at with understanding your decision-making abilities. So I could have also, at this point, I could have backed. I could have got my Phage Mallet, but I decided I wanted to fight him. I wanted to see if he knew what he was doing. And out of nowhere, he just burst me down so easily, it's not even funny. I also ignited at the wrong time too, so that's another issue I gotta work on. So with all that being said, I'm gonna end up going back to lane. Dragon and Rift Herald, I'm just gonna call them Rift Heralds from this point on. They're about to be up. And I know that once I go back to lane, I'm going to push my lane, and I'm going to be watching the minimap. And as you can see, Jarvan is currently over by the Dragon Pit. So that indicates to me that he wants to do Dragon. He's going, like as he's doing now, he's trying to pressure bot lane, so that way bot lane can go assist him and do drag. But if I'm not mistaken, he can solo Dragon. And then I make my way down towards Rift because I want to be able to help out against Zeri. And then I was trying to get the Kayn to assist me in getting Rift, but instead Kayn wants to run down towards Dragon and try to steal it. And by the time he gets there, it's already gone. So here, it would have been more ideal for the decision to take Rift. And the reason for that is because once you take Rift, you would follow me to top lane. You would make that a 2v1. We'd either get a kill and or we'd get him low enough to where he's forced to back. He cannot stay in lane. We would be able to take the first turret by ourselves, and then on the way to the second turret, you'd pop Rift, and Rift would be able to help push into the second turret, into the inhib turret. And in doing so, you'd create so much pressure at that point that not only would the Urgot have to come face us, Zeri would have to come face us, and or Zeri, Urgot, Jarvan, and the bot lane would have to come face us at that point. And in doing so, would cause pressure, enough pressure to allow mid lane to go push their turret, for bot lane to go push their turrets. And that's really the ultimate goal. You want so much pressure that you take turrets fast enough to where the enemy doesn't know what to do. You don't want to force a fight in that situation either. What you're trying to do is you actually want to avoid fights unless you can find a pick. You don't want a team fight at all, because then it defeats the purpose of your whole goal of pushing and then having people come like check you. You just have to run away and survive. And in the process of doing that, let's say for instance your bot lane, they're able to push their bot turrets up to the inhib turret. So now they got to go back and fight that, and then in doing so, you would have Dragon up, you would have Baron up, or if they're just grouped, then you just go back to split pushing your opposite lane, and basically you're just going to play ping pong like that. Now here you see me making a poor decision because I forget Zeri's range is actually pretty strong. I'd say it's probably one of the best in the game, second to Caitlyn, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or Kalista. But here you see that I should have just stayed back a little bit. I didn't realize Zeri popped her ult. But I was able to get some minions in exchange of my death, which is good. Here also is another good example of a decision. See, I was going to ask for help from Kayn, but then I decided not to. The reason being is because I don't want him to think I'm being toxic to him. I don't know if he's just having a bad day. I don't know if he's having a few bad games and he's just tilted out of his mind. And he's currently just trying to do the best he can. I don't know. But you'll see that I get a little irritated though. I started to get a little flustered. I don't know how I'm going to be able to be beneficial to the team. Kayn's, farming, he's doing his thing, but what gets me is when he starts to do lane farming. He starts CSing in the lanes themselves. He's staying relevant with his farming in the jungle. He's supposed to do that. However, his decision making needs a little work. And again, I'm not here to bash him. I'm not here to say that I'm better than him. As you see, I'm currently 2-2-0. I'm not benefiting the team at all. besides I got a turret with EA. That this turret didn't make a whole lot of a difference, to be honest with you. Especially since we have 3 dead teammates and me and Irelia are the only ones alive. This is another bad decision by me. I'm just trying to slow their push, but instead I try to go in for a dive on the Lux, and Lux flashes away. But we do pick up the kill here on the Urgot. So it wasn't all in all a bad play. However, if the Lux decided to, if she saw me running and decided to snare through the Urgot and get me, I would have had a higher potential of dying, to be honest. I mean, Kayn might have picked up the kill, but I mean, it is what it is. It's over. It's just a learning experience, something to nitpick, something to, you know, get my mind thinking of what could I do in this situation. What is a alternative to what just happened? What could have happened if I didn't play this correctly? Just things like that. So keeping my mind open to possibilities, seeing things that I might not have seen before, or I mean, another good example would be how Kayn decided to run in. I would not run through River, personally. I would actually run through the tri-brush to the left side towards safety. I would E through the wall and see if Dragon was low enough. If it was low enough for me to smite steal, I would smite steal. If it just needed a Q or a W, I would Q into the Dragon, then smite steal. I mean, there's plenty of different ways to go about it, but it's just based on your decision on what you want to do. Now here, I don't blame Nish going up top to push that lane out. What he did was correct, in my opinion, because as you can see, when he backs, you'll see a Caitlyn and Jarvan pop up. You'll see it in 3, 2, 1, yeah, and then you should see the Jarvan here in a second too. There he is. But because he did that, he was able to alleviate some of the pressure in the mid lane, make Urgot back off. Lux did a smart play by ulting the minion wave, so we can't push for the turret. I'm pretty sure if we were able to get the mid turret, we would have had a little bit easier of a time. But because that turret was there, we just really didn't have much we could do. Another thing I'm going to point out is the Galio here in a second, if I'm not mistaken. It's either here or it's a little later. But I'm trying to figure out how I can go in at this point. How can I use my ult? How can I benefit the team? How can I get a pick? Anything. And all of that's just not clicking in my brain. It's just, I don't know how I'm going to engage with my flash down. I want to make sure they stay off Baron, but I can't go in. I was hoping Galio would go in. I don't understand why Galio would ult there. The shield's good, yeah, but it would have been better if he ulted here on top of me at that point. Reason being, I would get the shield, I would get a knock up, we could potentially get 2 kills. I mean, it's just based on their decisions. Now here, I was starting to really question some things about the Kayn, but the Kayn did good. Ashe was able to pick up the kill on Zeri. I'm a little tilted, so I'm following the arrow, see if it's gonna hit a enemy in the fountain. Doesn't happen. And I'm just over here trying to think while I'm reviving, what do I do? So now I go up to top lane again. I was gonna get the CS, but Kayn beat me to it. So Kayn's actually above in level. So he's staying relevant, but not in the sense you would think. Well, no, it's actually in the sense you would think. I was getting a little ahead of myself. What I'm getting at is Kayn is staying relevant in his level, but he's not staying relevant in his decision making, and that's the issue. As you can see, Kayn decided he wanted to go counter jungle, but it was not a good idea considering that the wave was pushing into the enemy. It's past the halfway point. I end up dying here, but I also get the kill on Jarvan, so it's a 1-for-1. That's not a bad trade, especially when you're going when you're doing a, well, it's actually a 2-for-1. I just realized because Galio jumped in, I forgot all about that. Oh man. But again, it's a learning experience. With this lane pressure that we generated, though, we were able to get a turret. Ash survives just barely. If it was one more second that Ash had to do a recall, Ash would have died. But the thing about it is a lot of this for Wild Rift and League of Legends, it comes down to decision making. In this game, you have to weigh your pros and cons. A good example would be like earlier. Pros, you stop, or you got Dragon Buff versus Rift Herald. Enemy junglers over at Dragon. The pro is you can take Rift. The cons is you lose Dragon. Another con is if you try to go take and steal the dragon and you're across the other side of the map, you're more than not likely to get the steal. So just generating pressure is a deal in this game. If we actually kept up with the lane pressure that we were applying with me and Ash, I think we would have been fine. But somehow our teammates just keep dying. They keep trying to get buffs, or I'd say objectives. It's not bad, but again, you have to weigh the pros and cons. It's just that simple. It's nothing else I can really add on to that other than, do you win a team fight with a 3v5 or 3v3, 3v4, or do you lose? Do they counter your champion? Do they CC you to death? Is it like the new Morgana stun where you stay stunned for 15 seconds? Just got to make those decisions like, hey, we can't take that. Let's go take mid turret. No one's there. Or, hey, you got two of us top. I know the enemy's over in bot lane. Lux is in bot lane. Let's go push top lane. Let's go create pressure there. Let's go get the inhib turret. Something. Not, hey, there's a team fight coming up. We're going to go 3v4, 3v5, however many was over there. You see Kane try to go in. He gets to pick up kill on the Urgot, but then he dies to the Lux, if I'm not mistaken. You see the Lux is Zeri. So you have to understand like where I'm coming from with this. Like even here, this is a bad play by me. I thought I could get the kill on the Caitlyn. But also at the same time, I wanted to see if Ashe could get out, and Ashe couldn't because Jarvan also came in. So it really is just a bad play call on my end. I should have just backed, but I don't know. Just some things that you have to work on. Sometimes you just have to roll with the punches. But if even in a losing game like this, always treat it within the learning experience. Try to figure out what you could have done better. It's best if you don't if you're gonna do a recap of your game and you're gonna try to figure out what you could have done better. It's always better to leave Fog of War on for your enemies, and then the reason for that is one is, if you look at the map right now, it is dark. There's no vision, and the only vision we have is where our allied champions are. So vision is key and essential in this game. The more vision you have, the easier your game's going to be. The more times you can see the enemy before the enemy will see you, and so forth, so on, like that. So it will make you want to place vision down. And again, I'll say this, the more vision you have, the easier your game is going to be. The easier it is going to be for your jungle to counter gank. The easier it is going to be like, oh, these guys are going to go for dragon, let's set up an ambush. Oh, this one player's over here, they're alone, I can go get this pick real quick. Vision is essential. But also at the same time, you also want to put yourself in positions like pause the game or pause your replay, and you want to say, okay, if I do this, or if I did this already, and this is where I died. How did I die? Figure out how you died. Rewind it, and then go, okay, so if I would have done this, then this would have happened, or this could have happened. And this will make your game sense a lot better too, as well. So doing that would greatly increase your gameplay. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is help you guys understand where I'm coming from with my decision making. I know my decision making in this game was pretty poor, but I also already felt that I was useless with Set against the Lux and Caitlyn, and against the Zeri. I had no way to get in. I typically don't run Ghost. Even if I did run Ghost, I still would not have been able to catch up to him. Caitlyn has an escape, Zeri has an escape, Lux has a snare, and then, you know, you're bursted to death. You also have to understand that my build this game is not ideal to go against Lux, because I don't have any magic resist. I don't even have armor, I don't think. I'm just running health. I'm running full health and damage. That's really all there is. Because I'm trying to make a build, or like I said, I was doing a knockout build of sets mathematically correct. Lost my train of thought. Sets mathematically correct build. So, but I mean, that's a mistake in itself, right? I mean, I understand now that given the matchup, I should have just ran like a full armor build against the Urgot, the Jarvan, the Zeri, the Caitlyn. I mean, that's 90% of the team right there. So that's my mistake on that. Also understanding that I get trapped, I'm overextended. The ult I tried to do was I tried to ult Zeri back into my team, but that failed, unfortunately. I think she eat away as I tried to ult her, so it redirected where my ult was going. And that's a learning experience in itself there too. But hopefully you guys are able to apply what we talked about in this video. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you have anything that you want to add on, you can drop it in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.